Real Virginia is produced by the Virginia Farm Bureau. Farming, it's all good. Visit our website at vafarmbureau.org.
Home will always be Virginia, between the Blue Ridge and Chesapeake Bay, Atlantic to Appalachia, home in my heart always.
Hello everyone and welcome to Real Virginia, a show about Virginia agriculture and the people who produce all the wonderful products we enjoy.
Eggs are a multi-million-dollar industry in Virginia. We visit a family farm that supplies eggs to consumers in 5 states. And speaking of eggs, Kendra Bailey-Morris whips up an easy and filling breakfast casserole in the heart of the home. And we find out how poultry litter can be turned into electricity.
Welcome back, everyone. We are here on a poultry farm in Amelia County, and it's the time of year during the holidays when just about every recipe we have calls for eggs. As Norm Hyde reports, there are 3 egg producers in the state of Virginia that produce millions of eggs each year.
Nestled in the mountains of southwest Virginia is a family farm unlike any other in the region. More than 50 years ago, the Wagner family started their egg business here. And now the Green Valley Poultry Farm is the largest of the 3 major egg-producing farms in Virginia. Rodney Wagner says they started with 2,000 chickens in the 1960s, and now they can house almost 1 million birds.
When we were joking, I said the reason I stay here is I just don't know any better. But it's true, this is all I've done since I was probably 11 years old. And I hope my sons follow my footsteps.
National egg production came to 90.7 billion eggs in 2012. By contrast, Virginia produced nearly 700 million eggs in the same period. But this is still an $89 million industry in Virginia. The Wagners do their part to contribute, producing almost 300 million eggs a year. It's a role they don't take lightly.
Computers are fine, but there has to be the human aspect of, of people in the houses caring for the birds. So we have a person for each house. They have to go through a training period. Any new hire has to be schooled in how to, that we do not tolerate any abuse of the animal, and that they have to report if they see any abuse of an animal.
The Wagners raise their own replacement pullets for the hen houses and ship eggs to grocery stores in Virginia and 4 other states. Each hen house is climate controlled, the birds are vaccinated, and receive regular food and water. Wagner's won awards for his farm operation and has a clean bill of health from the U.S. Department of Agriculture. And he derives a lot of satisfaction from leading the team of 36 employees who run the farm every day of the year.
In a week's time, you can see the production record from the hens and know you've done a good job. Every 2 years when we turn flocks around, we know if we've done a good job. There's a lot of things that keeps us interested.
Virginia poultry growers have to ship in corn and other feed from other states to meet their needs, since the Old Dominion is not a large corn-producing state. Wagner says that's why Green Valley Farms is now asking local farmers in southwest Virginia to help supply some of the grain they need.
We just feel like it'd be a good opportunity for us and the farmer, and we're just trying to get the word out that we would like to buy more grain locally.
The other 2 major egg farms in Virginia are located in the Shenandoah Valley and in Southside Virginia, so Green Valley Farm has this territory for itself. Wagner says that helps keep down the risk of animal diseases, makes it easier for him to pass the business on to his sons, the 4th generation.
We've made a living with it and provided jobs for our community. I hope they stick with it. I think that's our plans. It's been good for me. I hope that it continues on.
And it's been good for his community and Virginia's farm economy as well. In Abington, Virginia, I'm Norm Hyde. Located in the southwestern tip of Virginia, Washington County has a proud and powerful agricultural heritage. Nearly 1,800 farms here produce 99,000 tons of hay and 85,000 bushels of corn. Livestock's very big in this mountainous region, with 44,000 head of beef cattle and another 25,000 head of dairy cattle. It's the number 4 beef cattle county in the state. Altogether, agriculture contributes nearly $44 million to the economy of Washington County, Virginia.
I'm Mark Viette. Coming up on In the Garden, we're going to talk about storing vegetables the old-fashioned way. Stay with us.
I love being a dairy farmer because it's an adventure to be a dairy farmer. It's a new beginning every day.
Every day I can get up in the morning and have a smile on my face, whether it's raining or whether the sun's shining. I love what I do.
Growing up on a dairy farm, I think you learn to work really hard and don't take anything for granted.
There's a lot of work to do on a dairy farm. You have to be committed.
It's a huge responsibility that we have being farmers. We take pride in it and we're proud to be able to do it.
Every day we have the opportunity to provide a wholesome product that's vitamin rich and nutrient full.
It's a feel-good feeling knowing that I'm putting food on somebody else's table and that I'm doing a good job doing it.
I am Ken Smith.
I'm Ben Smith, and
I'm
I'm
dedicated
dedicated
to
to dairy, my cows, my milk,
my
my
land.
land.
Today, Mark Viette takes us in the garden to find out how you can store your fruits and vegetables all winter long.
You can just store your own veggies right outdoors. So if you go to a farmer's market, a lot of us are trying to buy our food locally. Some of those farmer's markets don't stay open all winter. So you can get some great deals maybe on beets, potatoes, and even carrots, but then you have to store them. And you need room, so you can just dig a pit outdoors and store your vegetables that way. But to make it easy, what I've got here is a crate. And I am going to try to put enough vegetables, a variety of them, in this crate that when I'm ready, I can take this crate out of where I've stored it, and then I can use them over the 2 weeks or a month period of time. It's really easy to do. I recommend getting a type of sand that is somewhat coarse. This is chicken starter sand. Sometimes you see it in bird seed. And I just had a plastic bag here, and I just put some of the sand down on the bottom. It's a little moist, not super dry, not super wet. And then once I get an inch or two layer at the bottom, I'm going to take my vegetables and put them in here. What you want to do, for example, with carrots, when you trim them, you just want a little bit of the tip, maybe a half of an inch of the old foliage still left on your carrots. And then you just take the carrots and you lay them in side by side. And maybe in this case, we would put as many as 20 or 30 carrots in that section. And as you're doing, the vegetables have been somewhat cleaned of all the soil and debris, and there's a little bit of moisture in them. But then again, you just, after layer, you just take some of this. And you don't want to use very fine sand, like play sand. That's too fine. It's important with beets that you just roughly clean them, and you just want to be able to trim the foliage. And you can use, if you want, something like this. You want to leave about a half of an inch, but you don't want to damage beets too much because then they'll bleed a lot. So you can just come in here like this, or you can just use the shears. And then you're going to take your beets and you're going to lay them right on top of the sand where the carrots are underneath, and you'll continue filling a layer or two of beets. I'm going to do potatoes. Potatoes that you've grown and they've already been air dried, they're ready to go, or if you want to buy them by the bushel. So what you're going to, same process, just come in, put about an inch down of the grit, and then you're going to lay your potatoes side by side with just a little tiny space between them so you can fill that with moist sand. And then you'll come back with the grit, cover them, then you're ready for your next vegetable. Leeks are great. I really enjoy leek soup, and it adds phenomenal flavor. You want to clean the leeks, and we're going to store them a little differently. We're going to store them this way, and then we're going to cover them with sand. And the great thing about this is I'll have multiple crates filled with veggies, but I'm only taking out what I need. I'm not digging through everything else and ruining what I've laid down. So I will stack these crates out in the garden, which we'll show you in a minute. But one thing keep in mind, you do need to keep separate some of the vegetables like cabbage and broccoli and Brussels sprouts. They do give off a sulfurous odor. And by keeping them separate, which I have another bag right under here to keep maybe 1 or 2 cabbages in the same crate, but in a separate bag. It's that easy. But what you want to do is go out somewhere where you can dig sort of a pit in the ground, something that won't fill with water, something that'll drain. This will continue to drain if need be. 2 or 3 bales of straw is probably perfect. And what you want to do is sort of just line your hole with straw and just go ahead and you're just going to spread it out nice and thin. Once that's done, then you're going to go ahead either with plastic or with, I love this bubble wrap, it's great, great stuff, is I'm gonna come like this, spread it out, then you're gonna set your crates. Again, try to keep cabbage a little bit separate. And then I'm gonna come in with more straw. And some of those colder climates, and just to keep the straw down, you're just going to come in with just a little bit of soil on top. Again, air can get in a little bit through here or through the sides. You don't want to completely seal it up. About every month, when I find that I need some new veggies, I'll just come in and pull this back and take out my crate and harvest great tasting vegetables. I'm Mark Viette. Join me next time in the garden.
For more garden tips, go to inthegardenradio.com.
Up next on Real Virginia, Kendra Bailey Morris has easy slow cooker breakfast recipe using Virginia pork and eggs.
Breakfast can be tricky, especially during the busy holiday season. But as Kendra Bailey Morris shows us, it can be easy if you use a slow cooker breakfast casserole recipe in the heart of the home.
Hi, I'm Kendra Bailey Morris and welcome to the Heart of the Home. Today we are in Sur La Table's beautiful kitchen once again, where we often shoot, and we're going to be making a recipe from my cookbook that came out August 20th of this year. It's a slow cooker tater tot brunch casserole. I know it sounds crazy, but trust me, it's really good. It's basically a layering of tater tots, eggs, sausage, cheese, and some herbs and spices. And we're going to cook it for about 3 or 4 hours, and it comes out as this beautiful casserole that you can slice into pieces. So what we're going to do, or what I've already started actually, is I just cooked up some breakfast sausage, and this is just some basic breakfast sausage, and I like the breakfast sausage with sage. So I've already got that done, so you obviously don't want to throw your sausage in there raw. One, it's not safe to throw raw meats in a slow cooker, and 2, the sausage is going to definitely render a tremendous amount of fat into the pot. You don't want that. So we cooked the sausage, I've drained off most of the fat, and that's done. And now I've got some tater tots, and these are just basic frozen tater tots. If you don't want to use tater tots, you could use frozen hash browns or any type of frozen potato. But it is important that it's frozen. It sounds kind of crazy, but you want that because you don't want them to be warm or cooked in any way before you put them into the pot, because then they will overcook. Things will not cook evenly. So you want to make sure that these are still frozen. It's going to balance out the cooking in the end. And I've sprayed the inside of my slow cooker. And I've got about 3 or 4 cups. It's almost a whole bag. And I'm just going to put these in the bottom of the slow cooker. And now I'm going to move on to my next step. This is a layered dish, as you can see. What I have now is 12 eggs. So you can see this makes a lot. I would say this probably serves in the range of 8 people, maybe 10 people, because it is really rich. I've got 12 eggs in here, and I'm going to add some milk, about 1.5 cups of whole milk. And what I'm going to do now is just whisk this up. Some of you might be familiar with this dish. It's kind of a popular church cookbook kind of dish, something that I grew up on, and it's just one of those breakfast casseroles that you layer the bread and the cheese and sometimes bacon, sometimes sausage, and it's an overnight casserole, meaning you put it in the fridge overnight and then you take it out and defrost it a little bit and then just pop it in the oven, and it's a really, really easy breakfast. I'm also going to add a pinch of dried mustard, and that's optional. I just like that flavor in there. And I've got some black pepper. Add a little bit of that. I'm not adding any salt to this, and that's because the sausage has a tendency to be really salty as it is, and if you're going to use something like country ham, which you could use, or bacon, that's going to be a lot of salt. So, and the tater tots will already have salt in them, so you want to be careful about not over salting this, because once it's over salted, you can't go back. Next, I'm going to add some cheddar cheese. This is just basic shredded cheddar, and then I've got some minced green onions. And that adds a little bit of color and then a little bit of flavor in there. You could use regular onions if you wanted to. You could add some herbs that you have growing, fresh herbs, if you have something growing out back. So what I'm going to do now is go ahead and just pour this on top of my tater tots. Oh, wait, back it up. Want to make sure we put the sausage in there. Sausage first, then eggs. Almost forgot about it. Okay, we got our sausage. We're going to pour this on top of the tater tots. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's all going to cook together. Like, as I was saying earlier, a giant tater tot omelet. Can't go wrong with that. And I'm just going to pour this on top. Distribute the cheese a little bit there. All right, that is good to go. Now all I'm going to do is put the lid on it, which is the whole set it and forget it with slow cooking, and I'm going to turn it on low for 3 to 4 hours. Now it's important to know your slow cooker, because some slow cookers will require less time, other ones more time, depending on how hot it runs. So I say at about the 3-hour mark, or even 2 hours and 45 minutes, check it, see what's going on. You might want to go ahead and just shut the cooker off or turn it to warm, and it should be done. So we're going to go ahead and let this roll for about 3 or 4 hours, and we'll be right back. Okay, so here we have our breakfast casserole. It's about 4 hours later, and it's totally finished. Through the magic of television, that is. And you can see that it's set up really nicely. It's actually a very dense, rich dish, and so it feeds a lot of people. It's wonderful. And some of us were talking earlier about what a great dish this would be if you had friends and family, or definitely family, staying over Christmas and Christmas night, and you need something Christmas morning, and you don't want to have to labor and make a big breakfast because you've already made a big dinner the night before. You just don't feel like it. This is the dish that you want to make. You can go ahead and assemble the ingredients ahead of time, and just, meaning go ahead and cook your sausage and everything and just throw it in the pot and let it go, because it's a short cook time. It's about 3 to 4 hours, which is short in slow cooking terms. And then if you also wanted to do it, you could put all of the ingredients in there uncooked and put it in the fridge the night before, and then bring it out, get it to room temperature so your insert doesn't crack, and then go ahead and finish with the cooking the next morning. Super simple. Have it with some coffee and some mimosas, and you're good to go. So I've already started to cut into this just a little bit to make it easier to remove, but as you can see, it comes out really easily. And you can see the tater tots and the eggs, and they're all in there, and the cheese kind of naturally rises to the top, which is nice, so you don't have to worry about sprinkling additional cheese on top of it. So here you have it. This is a slow cooker breakfast casserole with tater tots, cheese, eggs, chives, good stuff, very hearty, perfect if you're going to be entertaining the family the next morning, and it's from my cookbook, The Southern Slow Cooker. I'm Kendra Bailey Morris. Let's get cooking.
Recipes from the heart of the home can be found on the Virginia Farm Bureau website at vafarmbureau.org.
Virginia's poultry industry employs more than 13,000 workers across the Commonwealth. It's the top sector of the state's farm economy. In 2012, Virginia farmers produced more than 240 million broiler chickens, 17 million turkeys, and 696 million eggs. About 18% of the chicken and 12% of the turkey meat produced in the United States is sent overseas. Virginia farmers contribute a lot to that, making the Old Dominion the 6th largest turkey-producing state in the nation. The overall economic impact of the poultry industry in Virginia is more than $8 billion.
With so many poultry operations in the state, it can be a challenge to find a home for all the litter that's created. But as Amy Rocher reports, one Shenandoah Valley farmer has found a way to turn litter into electricity.
Glenn Rhodes, a Port Republic farmer, has joined the movement to go green by hosting a poultry litter furnace that could change the agriculture industry forever. The global refuel poultry litter furnace was installed in March of this year and has proved to be an innovation in farm technology.
This is an early production prototype that is in field test now. They're hoping to ramp up and produce them as the market develops.
The unit is able to process 180 pounds of litter per hour and has operated on Rhodes' farm for over 2 flock cycles. The brooder house demands quite a bit of heat for young turkeys, and so far the furnace has delivered.
We like a room temperature in the neighborhood of 90 degrees, and the furnace puts out approximately 140-degree air into the house. It's distributed throughout the house.
But the heat itself is not the only eco-friendly product of the machine. The byproduct ash is put to use as fertilizer in areas that are less rich in phosphorus, reducing pollutant runoffs to the Chesapeake Bay.
The valley has a high nutrient load with all the agriculture, so the phosphorus in the soil is building up over time. So part of the purpose of this is to remove that phosphorus from this area into areas that have a phosphorus deficiency. A ton of litter has approximately 67 gallons equivalent of propane in it, and if we can extract that heat and have the ash left over for fertilizer, it's just a really good situation.
In an attempt to reuse, recycle, and renew the valley's resources, the Farm Manure to Energy initiative was started. Along with its partners, this initiative helps to facilitate the use of technologies like this furnace to both renew energy and decrease nutrient pollution. The National Fish and Wildlife Foundation, a project partner, is helping to achieve these goals. Not only is Rhodes assisting this project, but he has developed his own tactics for eco-friendly farming, including using his own soy and canola crops as biofuel for his skid loader.
Personally, I've always had an interest in alternative energies of different types, and the thing that's really been fascinating is to be able to burn the litter, which is a waste product, and produce heat. And it's something that's now doable, and it's very exciting to be involved in the project.
Not only is the project helping the environment, but it's proving itself as an opportunity for viable renewable energy that could save farms money in years to come.
In agriculture, you can either increase your income or reduce your cost, and reducing cost is often easier than increasing income. So cost reduction is a big factor in being profitable.
Data is still being collected on the cost effectiveness of the model, and as the project continues, it will be improved to create viable and accessible solutions for farmers all over the country.
One thing about a project like this, it helps us as farmers, but it also is helpful to the environment. We're hoping to remove nutrients that are building up in the area and just clean up the watershed, and we're hoping other farmers can see a project like this and think, maybe that'll work on my farm.
Reporting from Rockingham County, Virginia, I'm Amy Rocher for the Virginia Farm Bureau.
That's going to do it for this episode of Real Virginia. We are so glad you could join us to celebrate the bounty Virginia has to offer, whether it's in your home, your garden, or your landscape. We're proud to say that this is Real Virginia. So for everyone from the Virginia Farm Bureau, thanks for watching. Make it a good month.
Home will always be Virginia, between the Blue Ridge and Chesapeake Bay, Atlantic to Appalachia.